Mr. Edelstein, your 2 o'clock is here.
Thank you, Margaret. Send him in.
Would you two gentlemen like anything to drink?
No thanks, Margaret. That'll be it. Please, sit.
Thank you. You know, I'm surprised on how small your office is. I expected something more extravagant.
I get that all the time here. My New York and LA offices, huge, ornate. But this is where I started out. This office is like home. I have my most trusted staff here.
I see.
Look, when Margaret told me what you're looking to do, bringing a new message to the public, I got to admit I was intrigued. We don't normally see introductions of many big-ticket acts from your part of the world.
I suppose I can understand that. I really don't come to this part of the world much.
Really? Nobody would be able to tell to listen to you. You pretty much speak the language like a native. Look, I really don't get any walk-in traffic here. Most of my business is done by phone, fax, or email, but here you sit right in front of me. Given that you're a new act trying to make it big, here's what I see shaking out so far. You're not exactly the guy next door type and a little bit old for trying to start out making a name for yourself. But overall, not too bad to start off with. And there's just something about you that seems to pop in an unusual kind of way. Know what I mean?
You mean I'm not Hollywood enough?
Well, there is that.
Mr. Edelstein.
Please, call me Josh.
Josh, then. I've been checking around. Getting the lay of the land, so to speak, and I've concluded that in order to make any kind of an impact with something new into the common culture, there are very few effective ways to get the kind of exposure that I'm looking for. And in further checking, I found that you have a unique talent for making that happen. Some of your most recent work, the reunion of the remaining 2 Beatles, the East Coast, West Coast Rappers Benefit for New Orleans, under the tribute to Tupac and Biggie Smalls, was hailed as a revolution in modern music. And the Ike and Tina reunion, well, to say the least, your talent cannot be overstated.
Please, those were all easy. All I did was remove the roadblocks that were keeping everybody from doing what they wanted to do in the first place.
You're entirely too modest, Josh. What about the worldwide telethon in Jerusalem? To collect money and rebuild the West Bank and compensate Israelis and Palestinians for lost homes and businesses on both sides. That was especially important to me. I'll never forget that. Carter and Clinton in your country, all over there for the last half a century, trying to solve an unsolvable problem. And you pull it off single-handedly. Peace in the Middle East. And your event was the nucleus for the entire process.
Please, those were all easy compared to the Ike and Tina thing. Between the National Organization for Women and every battered women's group hitting us in every city of the tour, I was sweating bullets that some crazy was just going to do something stupid. Hell, kid, the insurance alone almost killed me on that one. But enough about me. What specifically are you looking for?
Good question. You might call it a concept piece that I think will resonate with a large percentage of people around the world. Something that's long overdue and just may touch enough people to make a difference.
Okay. I think we can accommodate you. The idea's simple enough. It's the timing and the execution that'll make all the difference in the world. Show me what you got.
All right, Mr. Edelstein, where would you like to start?
Please, kid, it's Josh. Who have you worked with before? Have you been a sideman for someone I'd know?
I highly doubt it. No, most of my work was long ago, and I'm sure there's nobody around that I did any of my earlier work with. In fact, I can guarantee it.
Okay, it's not a big problem. I've had less to work with. How about product tie-ins? Is there something that we can piggyback on? Like the guy who does the Can You Hear Me Now phone commercials. Something like that we can roll into the message.
No.
Do you work with props?
No. For the most part, all I bring to the show are the clothes on my back, like the message in my heart.
Yeah, that's touching, kid, but it ain't exactly giving me a lot to hang my hat on. Do you play an instrument?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
So what we're looking at is more of a Tony Robbins kind of thing, motivational, right?
Much more than that, I'm sure.
Okay. Let's look at the kind of presentation we're going to need to get things going. What do you see for special effects to pump things up?
Special effects.
Yeah, like sound, lighting, sound effects. How about this? A huge explosion and you pop up right up from the center of the stage? Something that'll grab everyone right from the start.
Josh, I'm not looking for that kind of an entrance. All I need is the eyes and ears of as many people as possible so that I can give the best possible dissemination. That's it.
I see. Look, son, if you want the rubes to go to the show, log in, watch you on pay-per-view, whatever, they have to believe that they're going to be missing the one thing that everybody is going to be talking about the next day. In order to do that, we have to create some pre-event buzz about you to draw them in, you see?
I don't exactly know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
Well, have you been married or dated somebody that's been in the news recently?
No, I can't say that I have.
Do you know Pam Anderson or one of the Hilton girls by any chance?
By name and deed only.
Had any brushes with the law?
No, not lately.
Damn. How about rehab? Have you ever been in rehab for something that the public can relate to or sympathize with?
Not at all. I admit I'm a social drinker, but I don't think I've ever been drunk.
Good for you. How about, and I don't want to offend you, but have you ever had any kids out of wedlock?
I admit I have all the urges of a normal man my age. But no, Josh, there's nothing like that either.
No indiscretions with a well-known man's wife.
I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm not going to go out and create some scandal.
No, it's not necessary. Look, son, all I'm looking for is something that we can use to create some pre-event buzz. Have you ever heard the saying, what if they had a war and nobody showed up?
Wouldn't that be a nice change?
Have you got a faceplace page on the internet?
Sorry, Josh. I've never even been on a computer before.
Never? No email? Nothing? I can hardly believe it.
You're beginning to convince me that the only way to distinguish oneself today is by some sort of negative publicity about bad behavior. To say the least, it sounds pretty bleak. All I'm interested in is providing a message of hope that the people can take comfort from. And if I'm not mistaken, to even get a modicum of attention, one needs to be caught behaving badly.
Look, son, it wasn't always like that. Unless you pull a dog from a flood or save a busload of kids, any good that you might do can barely even get a mention at the end of a newscast. People aren't interested in hearing about good things. They want dirt, and the dirtier, the better.
Don Henley.
Bingo.
I don't get it. I just don't understand how things got to this point.
Yeah, it's a real bite in the ass, son. And the way things look, it's not going to get better anytime soon. Look, if you really have a message of hope, something new to bring to the table, there's never been a time so right for it. Understand, what I do is, by design, put on spectacles that appeal to the lowest common denominator. Everyone's driven by the same cultural debauchery. And the money, you wouldn't believe the kinds of money that get thrown at it. And at the end of the day, nobody really cares what it all means. Nobody cares, kid. And maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't care either. If you have to cut a couple of moral or ethical corners to get people to want to see what you're all about, then maybe you have to sell just a little bit of your soul at the beginning.
Do you mean the ends justify the means, Josh?
Exactly. But if you really believe in what you've got, shouldn't getting it out to everyone really come first?
No. That's how things got this way in the first place. It's just not in me. I can't. Look, I really appreciate you taking the time to see me. I've come to a much better understanding how things really are. Can I compensate you for your time, Mr. Edelstein?
It's Josh, and no, I should be thanking you for reminding me of what should be important. Listen, if you ever reconsider, and I mean this, I want you to come and see me, you hear? There's just something about you I can't shake.
Of course. But I don't think we'll be seeing each other again, at least not in this lifetime. I just don't see anything changing my mind. There's no point. Have a good day.
Hey kid, just out of curiosity, what were you going to call this extravaganza of yours?
It was going to be called The Second Coming.
Jesus H. Christ, are you kidding me?
No, Josh. I was dead serious. By the way, you know I don't have a middle name, don't you? The second come, the second come, you know I don't.
Margaret, stop that man. Don't let him leave.
Which man, Josh? Nobody has been in or out of your office.
And let that nice man in.
What have I done now?